my favorite. We do not get a lot of rain in this desert. And we had some last night, and we're obviously having some today. And I think it's going to continue through tomorrow as well. But last night, as I was sitting in bed, I bolted up at 11:30 because I had to do something, and I pissed off the cat who's glaring at me right now. Because I want to try something. I want to try a triptych painting. I'd like it to be in the style of the pre-Raphaelite art movement. And I want to try and make a hinge system on it. I don't have actual hinges, but I do have, I don't even know what these are called. But I do have some of these, whatever the term is, zip ties. So this is going to take me a long time to actually execute the thing that I would like to do. So let's go on an adventure together. I think this is probably going to be 2 episodes. Excuse me for what I want to create. So today we're specifically going to talk about what a triptych is and what the pre-Raphaelite movement is as I construct what I would like. And then the second episode is probably going to be about the actual composition of what I want to do. So let's enjoy the sound of the rain today and get started. These are the 3 canvases I'm working with. They are not technically the correct proportions for a triptych, because usually a triptych is one large main panel in the middle, and then 2 smaller side panels that, when folded over onto that main panel, are pretty much down the middle. But as you can see, I obviously have different proportions. And even if I did have 2 of this one type of canvas, it is well over half. So we're gonna use what we have and move forward regardless. I have some family power tools that I'm going to be using to actually go in through this wood, so long as it doesn't ruin anything. And I'm going to slowly drill holes all the way through this wooden backing of the canvas in order to lace my zip ties. Lace my zip ties through. We'll see how well that works. It may not. It may work great. It may completely destroy everything, but I'm never gonna know until I try it. Hi, so welcome to my bathroom. We are in here because I've got my lovely, the family's Black & Decker power tool. I'm going to do my best to very gently drill. I think we're going to start off with 3 holes on either side of our middle canvas, and then 3 holes on the interior, what sides I will deem to be interior for our larger canvases. Now I've got I don't have a straight edge today. I actually thought it would be a lot easier to do this with some measuring tape. And then pencil, obviously. And last but not least, zip tie, so that I know sort of the width of what I need starting, to get to eventually. Now this is my set of drill bits. I have had them since I was in undergrad, which is why they're spray painted purple, because all of my tools I spray painted purple in an attempt to not have them stolen by the other individuals in the art classes. No offense to any of my classmates, but also, you know how college is, we're all little thieves. So it's got my purple spray paint. It's also got my blue hammer sticker for the Hammer Museum, which if you're in the Los Angeles area or the greater Los Angeles County like I am, I would highly recommend you going to the Hammer Museum. It's off of Wilshire Boulevard. God, I think it's right off of the 5 freeway, I want to say, because I don't think it's the 405. The 405 is too far south.
Editing Alana here, it is the 405.
Shit, it's off of one of those freeways. The Hammer Museum, Hammer. They have beautiful free art installations for one to go and look through. They have a beautiful museum store. They have some really fun interactive pieces that I think are always there. Check on dates because they may not be open certain days of the week, especially post-COVID. I haven't gone in about a decade at this point, but I actually saw one of my favorite artists that like is in existence, excuse me, but is also like alive right now, which is awesome. I'll probably do a whole video one day on some of my favorite artists in general, because the Give More Than You Take Jim Hodges show at the Hammer Museum certainly changed my life. But I'm getting I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting lost. So I'm doing this in my bathroom because it's a lot easier to vacuum instead of in carpet, which is what the rest of this fucking house is. So I'm assuming I'm going to make a bit of a mess because I'm dealing with wood. Even though it's cheap ass motherfucking wood, it's still wood. So I'm putting you on a time lapse because it's a horrible sound when that drill goes off, especially in such a closed space like this, which is why I have my headphones on, because I have sensitive little baby autistic ears and it's just too loud. So that's what we're doing to try and mitigate the pain, the physical pain of things being too loud. So let's get started.
And this is the part where I'm doing math, and I did some math, yeah.
All right, shit is done. It's actually not necessarily perfectly thirds down because I want it to be, some of this is going to be a little bit top heavy. So while it is relatively close to being perfectly symmetrical into thirds, some of it is has a little bit more space at the very top, so that there's more strength at the bottom. I don't know if that makes sense, but it will eventually. So now I've opened up my boys. Flip out my boys. Thank you. And so we're gonna start. I have obviously lost a couple of these over the years, but we're gonna start off with the very smallest and then work our way up to bigger. And then we're not going super big because, where's my zip tie? All we really need is for this general end to be able to fit through. We do not want it so big that this end can fit through, because even though this is very long, we're still going to be, folding it over when it's done. It's probably going to be about yay thick, give or take. I don't know, we'll see. But this is about as thick as we need to go. So if we were to decide right now, first off, this is probably the thickest bit that we want. Focus. That's probably the thickest bit that we want. So let me set you up and we will use the loud machine. There he is. All right. I feel like, oh, my knees. I feel like I also need to say hi. That you should not be using power tools if you are alone and inexperienced. I probably shouldn't be using power tones. Excuse me, just ate a bunch of eggs. Hard-boiled eggs. I also probably shouldn't be using power tools while I am alone, though I am very experienced. But also, I got myself, babe. That's what I got. So that worked pretty well. I think I'm going to put pilot holes into all of these, and then we will move forward with making larger holes. But for now, I'm pretty happy with that. It didn't go all the way through on one of these. So let me deal with that right now. And then we'll do the bigger pieces.
So what I'm doing initially is drilling pilot holes. You really always want to go forward when working with wood to make a smaller hole to start with, and then gradually build up through using larger drill bits.
Now kids, we're going to the third and thickest bit. And if no one has ever told you, you need to be told right now, unplug your power tool before you make any sort of changes in its configuration. Or if you don't have a power tool that's the same age as you, take out the battery pack when you're changing bits, just because humans created, power tools. Humans are fallible, power tools are fallible. The last thing you want to do is lose a finger for your art. Okay? Okay. Good, I heard at least one begrudging okay from the other side of the ethers. Okay. Last and final hole.
And remember, we're gradually doing these holes larger and larger because it helps break down the possibility of us splitting the wood. Because if I would have split the wood, it would have been fine, but I would not have been able to do this project as I had intended to.
Hi, it's the next day. If I look sweaty, it's because I am. I just reorganized my fucking boxes because my life is in boxes. You know how divorce goes. And so I got the 3 books that are going to make my life so much easier for this process. So I've got my babies right here. And we can start working. We'll continue to work in earnest. I've just been looking online to do sketches for this project, but it's much easier if I have the physical thing open and before me, and then I understand the back. Well, here, let me show you. Let me show you. So we've got churches and cathedrals, we got rose windows, we got Gothic cathedrals. And it's a lot easier for me to know what I'm doing if I don't have like 7 tabs open all looking for information that I just know is within these books. So, like the proper names and all of the symmetry and all of that. Sorry, I'm very out of breath. But now we can move forward.
So here's the deal. It's still way too bright. I, as always, am falling in love with the most intricate pattern that can be humanly conceived within all of these various examples that I'm looking through for stained glass windows, for the upper portion of my middle canvas. So while I continue to draw these, and I will show you the one that I'm looking at doing, I'm also going to just go ahead and start to cut out my pieces of cardboard that I will plaster together, paste together, put at the very top of this guy right here. So I think I'm only going to deal with having the middle canvas with the addition at the top. I think I'm only going to do the top for that one. And then have the image continue going down into these canvases, but have it just be a very dark black background when we get to the actual painting portion of this. Now, I've been doing some sketches, and I have a few more in a different book that I just don't even want to put over here. But unfortunately, this is the one I like. This is the one that I really like. It's gonna take a long time, and that's okay. If I had the capabilities, I would ignore the dogs. I'm sure you can hear them. If I had the capability, I would actually not mind having some form of air dry clay so that I could have a raised surface to be working on. And as I say that, I feel like I have some cold wax medium that I might be able to use, but I don't know if the cold wax medium would, 1, apply to the canvas and not break apart, and 2, if I should still be able to use acrylic on cold wax medium. I might have to go do some Googling, a little bit of research. I should also completely switch over to Firefox from Google from a myriad of reasons. But most importantly, in this day and age and in this moment, is the whole Gulf of Mexico thing. And no, that's the only name I'm ever going to call it. I will always dead name the Gulf of Mexico and Twitter. So that's how it is. Gives you a little bit of context of when I am actually filming this as opposed to when it goes up. But let me hand rig some of this. Let me cut out some cardboard. Maybe I'll even videotape that so we can show you how I would in general do this. This is going to be using a lot of masking tape. This is going to be using a lot of glue. And the hair needs to go back again. So I suppose we're halfway through the video. We can talk about the fact that why a triptych? There's a lot of art history involved that I will absolutely go forward with like in the next video as well, because it has to do with the subject matter that I want to discuss. But very much it's just sort of this is an altar. In essence, these are triptychs and diptychs and things of this nature were always created and crafted for churches because they were there to, before there was mass literacy, there was pictures, there was paintings, there was architecture. Architecture used to be the way that we spoke to one another in essence. And so this is just very much going to be a love letter to the subject matter that I'm going to be tackling. Yeah. Look at her. Look at the princess. How could I get her out of that chair? I'll sit on the stool. Also, yes, I've changed my dress like 3 times today, back and forth between the summer dress and the winter dress. It's hot and then it's cold and then it's hot and then it's cold and then the sun's in my eyes. That's how it goes. So, I had talked a moment ago about doing cold wax medium as a possible action to take to give myself a form of grooving, in essence, a little bit of 3-dimensionality on these canvases to make it look as though it is actually a wall, a stone wall within some type of a 14th century chapel. I don't want to do that upon further reflection because it's a very small amount of cold wax medium that I have. I have a good feeling it would be entirely used on this project, which, while not a negative, is not what I want to use it for. It really is for oil painting, and because of how long I've had it, it might not even work. It might be like all dried up. And I also honestly just don't want to go digging for it in all of my boxes. I really don't. But what I do have easily accessible and in abundance is yarn. I'm assuming that I'm looking at you. This is just where the light is right now. Welcome to my studio. Welcome to my bedroom. So I believe what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to either double or triple up this yarn, and then utilize that as, I guess the proper term is it veining? I should look. I'll look it up. Next time we talk, I'll look up the proper term for what I am using this as. But you sort of have a general understanding of what I'm doing. Oh, can we get you to stay? Can we get you to stay on there, please? So it's upside down to you, but it's right ways to me. So this is what we're doing. We're gonna flap in and out. We're gonna take off and move forward. And this is why I'm making this as like a 2 video creation, because I really do want to put a fuck ton of time in just actually creating this canvas, this tri-folded creation, because I haven't even discussed the subject matter. I'm pretty sure I haven't discussed it. I talked about that I like it to be pre-Raphaelite in nature, which we will get into when we talk about subject matter and actual painting of this in the next video. But I'm going to leave you in suspense because there's going to be a week of difference in between when I load these, so that'll be a lot of fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for you. You're watching it, so I'm assuming it is. But yes, I don't know why we needed to do that type of Valley Girl, but that's what we're doing right now. I'm going crazy. It's hot in this house right now. It's fucking middle of February and it was balls ass cold about 2 hours ago, and right now it is so hot, so I probably need to drink some water. If you haven't, ooh, I got some right here. If you have not drank any water today, this is your reminder to drink some freaking water. I'm not sponsored by coconut water, but maybe I should be. Ah, fuck that. I'm not sponsored by anything. I ain't here to sell. I'm here to make. So let me figure out how I want to do this, because I believe it's going to involve me needing to sketch out all of the general layout of what I would like to do.
So let me see. I'm actually getting ahead of myself. I'm just gonna do this for a moment and then sit down. Maybe I will get the cat out of my chair because I want to sit in it. But first I need to, it's not a ton of this, it's not the whole piece, it's just from this median line upwards. I guess you'd call that the radius line, not the median line. Math.
And this is the time where I learned that I could actually have music playing in my Bluetooth headphones while doing time-lapse, which was very exciting for me. So while you can't hear it, I am jamming to Fall Out Boy's 6th record, Mania? Don't quote me on that. I don't know what number it is. Okay, so this is the part where I was realizing I should not be craning my neck in the way that I am to actually look at this picture. So I grabbed my grandma's magnifying glass and I tried to illustrate to you all just how tiny this image is that I'm going to be working off of. But whatever, we'll do it. We'll get by.
Hello, it's the next day and an enormous drill is going on behind me. My hair is also wet. My cat's also about to attack me because I have toys that are not toys, but we go forward regardless. So I'm just gonna flip you down. I think it'll be easier if I just flip you downwards and we'll pray that the phone doesn't fall out. So this is where we are. We've got everything nice and laid out. I had initially planned on not connecting these guys together until we were further down into the process. But I do have one extra of these guys. So I am going to go ahead and connect one aspect and see if I would still be able to move it to where I could access the edges. Because I do want to paint the edges, even if it's just going to be like a light to dark gray to signify stonework. But let me see. Alright, I know. You didn't want to play with it initially, and so now that I'm touching it, you want to play with it. You are a fickle creature. Alright, that way. So we're going to go from the interior of this guy. Maybe. Alright. We know it fits through, we just have to convince it. Okay. We got one part. We've got two part. Oh, also off camera, sorry I didn't show it, but I went ahead and put some thick paper at the top of this because you could see obviously the Vita Coco sign, and then after putting the paper on top, I gessoed it. Now gesso, as I struggle with this motherfucker, gesso is a type of, I suppose one could call it paint. Come on. Do I have to get out the thing again? I might have to. See, you go in that way, and you go in this way. Why won't you go in this way? There we go. Gesso is the paint that is used to actually treat raw canvas to become this nice white surface that you then paint upon. But now that this is in, we can go ahead, close this guy, close this guy. Do you have to go in the other way? You can tell how often I use zip ties. There we go. All right. Okay. Yeah, we can still access that rather nicely, even when it's zip tied. Oh, excuse me. Just gulped an enormous glass of water. Okay, I think I am gonna go ahead and connect all of these because then I'm still gonna be able to move them. So let's do that.
Just as an aside, the back of this is so interesting to me. I love to see the behind the scenes of how projects work. Yeah, there's a dog in the background. She's screaming, singing the song of her people.
All right, we've got it. Of course, the moment I start talking again, the fucking drill outside. Whatever. What is the tape on the back of this? Well, there were some rips in this canvas, and I wanted to treat them with gesso, so they needed to have a nice flat surface. Now, this is somehow bringing up horrible memories of being in science class in middle school, where I got my first and only D. But I'm going to move past that because this has nothing to do, well, it might have something to do with science, but we're talking about art today. So we, and by we I do mean the royal we, unless you consider my cat, who, yes, did get one of these, and she only sort of wants to play with it. Only if I'm touching it, and then I want to play with it. Okay, sorry, focus. Now, I had initially envisioned utilizing this yarn that was somehow treated and then put onto the canvas to signify like the wrought ironworks that's within stained glass windows. I don't really think I want to do that anymore. I slept on it, I thought on it, I thought, I don't know. If I want to add something at the very end of this process after I have the actual subject matter on the canvases, that's one thing. I do think I am going to just move forward, and I know for a fact that I want to have these aspects a dark gray and this very edge up here dark gray as well to really make the image pop. So I think I'm going to work on that, and then that is what I will consider the end of treating this canvas and getting it ready for the actual next part of the process, which is the painting, the sketching, the lighting. I'll probably do underpaintings for these 3 areas so that I can have some form of color to work off of that isn't just white. But we will get there when we get there. So let's do a little bit of paint, and then we will be done. For part 1, at least.
Ooh, I had such a fun time crafting this canvas, because I would consider this crafting. This is not something that you just buy from the store. And I am not at all a stranger to having an interesting shaped canvas for to paint on. One of the big things that I did, well, one of the things I've always done is have differently shaped canvases and surfaces that I was using to paint on. And I sort of started that thought in art school and undergrad when I really had like formal education. But this was also just like a really good exercise of me reminding myself I can make whatever I want, and it doesn't have to follow any specific rules. I should and can make completely new rules for myself.
Okay, I think we're actually pretty much there. I will wait until things are dry fully for me to put it, sit it up and you can look at it. And yes, I do have Lindsay Ellis in the background. Ignore her. I will put this specific video down in the caption though, because I love her work, and this one specific video makes me giggle at myself all the time. But I've got the main background color down. It's not entirely crisp because it doesn't need to be crisp right now, but I'm pretty happy with this. Actually, there's a couple little bits that are just peeking out that I do want to cover, but other than that, I think we're pretty much done with canvas prep. So now for the big reveal, I'm showing you the ugly side first, because I feel like we don't give enough credence to what's behind the canvas and how things are put together. So now that we've seen that, as I wrestle with this with just one hand, we'll flip it around. And aha! There's our triptych, our funny little triptych. I'm very happy with how this turned out. It's pretty damn solid, so it's not going anywhere. Would you hold that for me? Thank you. So here's where we are. This is our main show, I suppose. We're ready to start working on the actual composition and how we're going to fill the space. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. It is certainly something I have not ever played around with before, but that's how we learn. I would probably even do, well, I actually don't know if I would do it any differently at this point, because I think I did a pretty decent process for not really knowing what I was gonna make. So yeah, stay tuned for part 2 of actually what's going to go on this. But thanks so much. See you guys later.